What it do, guys? Leon Mookie here, and I'm back with another part of What If Izuku Can Summon Heroic Spirits. This is part 7. In the last part, Izuku and his servants confronted Hawks after he was ordered by the Public Hero Safety Commission to spy on him and his family, with the two actually going back and forth on why Izuku will never join the commission and that he'll do anything to protect his family and his ideals, when no matter what. With Hawks now just letting things be bygones, and decides to keep things from the Public Safety Commission to make sure that Izuku doesn't, stray from his path, the path that he decided to walk. So with that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? As Izuku is preparing to go to school, with now the person that's, going to stay with Inko and help her out is going to be Kojiro, as Izuku thinks that maybe he should spend time with his mother, given that he is, missing his own mother after all. At first, Kojiro was a little bit reluctant to, part from his master, but decided to let things be and decided to go to listen to him, with part of him actually feeling somewhat glad that Izuku actually is aware of how Kojiro feels. With Izuku and his servant heading to UA, they soon see a group of people at the entrance of the gates of the school, as it being the tons of the media and reporters, with Izuku saying, "What's going on?" With soon Sheba actually raised her head in that of shock and surprise and somewhat embarrassment as well, saying, "Oh crap, I knew there was something I was forgetting." With a few of the servants and Izuku looking at the caster class servant, with Nobunaga preparing a retort saying, "What the hell did you forget, you gold-digging fox?" With soon Sheba saying, "I forgot to mention that reporters were going to be here today, that they were probably here because All Might is here. Isn't that about right?" With Izuku saying, "Oh, that would make a lot of sense. I mean, the number one hero teaching at one of the most prestigious schools, it only seems normal that they would want to get an interview, not just with the teachers or with All Might himself, but then Sigurd finishing Izuku's sentence while adjusting his glasses, speaking with the very students that he teaches. So, how do you want to approach this, Izuku?" With Izuku saying, "I don't want to draw any attention to us, and personally, I really don't want to talk to them," as he's getting somewhat nervous and, is starting to shake actually. Even though Izuku is skilled in combat and has great battle sense now thanks to all his training with his servants, he still cannot handle speaking to a crowd when put on the spot. So yeah, noticing on how nervous and frantic that Izuku is, Nightingale soon went up to the reporters, with Izuku saying, "Hey, Nightingale, what are you doing?" Walking up to the reporters, they soon noticed the Italian/English woman, as one of them asked, "Excuse me, ma'am, who are you?" With Nightingale actually not wearing her typical, combat attire. Actually, she's wearing her casual clothes, as it's pretty similar to her, to her default combat gear, but it's a little bit different, as she wears that of a long sleeve sweater with that of, black midway skirt and black heeled boots, with her soon clearing her throat saying, "I wish to tell you that All Might is not on the premises. However, he is doing interviews nearby in town. I have been asked to escort all of you to his location. Would you please all follow me? If you could, though. All he wishes you not to bother his precious students who are getting to classes. With many of the reporters skeptic, with soon a few of them actually following Nightingale, with her leading many of the reporters away, with a few who were actually somewhat skeptic, saying that they can't pass up this opportunity if it is true, with them following the rest, as a few students soon now heading into the gate, thinking that many of the reporters are gone, with Izuku saying, wow, she is really good when it comes to stuff like that, with Sigurd having a hand on his chin and nodding in approval, saying, I expect nothing more from our responsible berserker after all. With soon Scott Hatch getting all their attention, saying, Izuku, you don't want to be late for classes, do you not? Hearing this, Izuku gets frantic, saying, thank you, Scott Hatch. I appreciate it. As he soon runs through the gate, with Scott Hatch basically putting up her hands and shaking her head side to side, with soon Sigurd basically having his hands in his pocket and couldn't help but smirk at the frantic Izuku, as the two basically run to catch up with them. As for Nobunaga and Sheba, they soon go into spirit form, so they won't drain Izuku too much of his mana to stay materialized. As for Nightingale, she continues leading the reporters out of the way. Then she begins looking at her watch as saying, I should lead them down at least 2 more blocks away from the school. After I take care of this issue, I should be able to make it back to the school in no time in spirit form. As she soon looks down from her watch, she soon noticed a young man, a man that looks like in his late teens, but also seems like in his early 20s. As Nightingale's a little bit taller than him, but when she looks over to her right side, she noticed the light blue hair coming off of him, with him wearing an all-black uniform with red shoes, as his appearance seems that of disheveled, but also somewhat creepy as well. However, that's not what got her attention to see the young man. What got her attention to see him was his presence. His presence alone was somewhat sinister and somewhat evil, but a part of it seemed suppressed in a way. With just a mere glimpse at him, she sees his crimson red eyes of anger and disgust. And she's all too well of that look that she has seen on many of her own foes. But soon, doesn't pay no mind, as continue leading the reporters away from UA. Speaking of UA, back with Class 1A though, Aizawa soon makes it into the classroom and wanted to go over what during their sparring sessions and training, which needed to bring up certain aspects. Like, for example, bringing up Izuku, Kirishima's, Bakugo, and Jiro's match, which he basically says that both Izuku and Jiro did a perfect job playing as villains, with Jiro giving out layout and information, and Izuku using his quirk / his servants to interrupt both Bakugo and Kirishima's advances, with soon bringing up Bakugo's mistakes on going off on his own and trying to beat one of Izuku's servants, even though it wasn't easy whatsoever, with Kirishima saying that he should have stuck alongside of Bakugo to help out. If they both worked together, they could have taken down one of Izuku's servants with no problem. With then Izuku saying them working together to beat Sky Hatch or Sigurd, Yeah, not gonna happen. But he does have a good point. They would have a better chance if they did work together. They still wouldn't beat them, but still. With then finishing off, looking at Bakugo saying, "Don't let one loss get you down, Bakugo. You still got plenty of potential and you still have much to learn. Remember that." Hearing this, Bakugo just scoffs, but still say, "Got it. I understand." Kirishima also mentioning that he'll do better as well and that he'll learn from his mistakes. With then soon, Aizawa soon brings up another issue for Class 1A, and that is, well, that they need a class rep, which everybody soon wants to become class rep, of course, as Nobunaga soon releases from her spirit form, with her going up to Izuku, asking the green net boy, why does everybody want to be, well, class rep, when she's been with him ever since he was a kid, and see that class reps only just do tedious jobs and labor and work for the classroom, with barely any payoff whatsoever. With soon Izuku saying, "Normally that's the idea, Nobu. Having somebody that's responsible for an entire class is important. However, it does seem a little bit less of a payoff though in normal schools, but for a hero school, it's a lot different." Within Sheba wanting to hear what Izuku has to say to the Demon King of the Sixth Heaven, and she's already aware of what Izuku's going to say, but she just wants to hear it though. With Izuku explaining to Nobu that being a class rep for a hero school basically proves that they're skilled at leaderships and is good at leading a group in combat situations or an emergency is that. With hearing this, Sheba couldn't help but feel proud of Izuku after all, thinking that he has the, well, being class rep in the bag, especially since he's actually a really good leader, to be honest, given that he's been able to keep his servants in check from time to time. Well, most of his servants in check. With then Ida bringing up the idea of them, well, having that of an election to decide on who will be class rep. With a few actually kind of skeptic about this, with Tsuyu bringing up the fact that it won't them all just, well, vote for themselves, and since they don't really know each other that well. With Ida was about to reply, Sheba soon cut him off saying, "All the more reason for you to do so. Depending on the person with the most votes, would most likely would be the one most worthy of being class rep. Wouldn't you all agree?" As she says this with quite the smug look on her face. With many people in Class 1A was really taken back with Sheba speaking all this, with soon many of them agreeing with the fact and are okay with that, depending on who has the most votes after all. With then Sheba actually already aware who's going to be class rep and who's going to be vice rep after all. With then all the votes are tallied up, with a few of them all voting for themselves, and with Momo having that of 2 votes, and Izuku having that of 3 votes. With then Izuku being class rep and Momo being vice rep. With Izuku somewhat getting quite nervous at the fact that he's going to be, well, class rep of Class 1A. And Momo feeling somewhat disappointed that she's not class rep of Class 1A instead. With then both Nobunaga and Sheba having that a thumbs up for their young master. With soon Sheba actually winking at her master, with Izuku noticing that wink as he realized that she knew that he was going to win no matter what. Couple seconds later, as Izuku and Momo taking the class rep spots, Nightingale soon appears in front, right beside Izuku, as she's saying, "Commander, all reporters and media have been removed from the premises. There is no need to worry anymore." With Izuku saying, "Thanks, Nightingale. I appreciate it." With soon saying, "It's my pleasure, Commander." As Nightingale places her hand on her chest and then kneels down, lowering her head to her master slash CO, with a few of the guys actually getting somewhat, well, jealous of Izuku having Nightingale, especially Mineta, who's actually crying quite a bit, but not crying tears of blood, unfortunately. However, she was about to tell Izuku about, well, the mysterious stranger that she passed to get rid of some of the reporters. However, she decides to keep it to herself, thinking that it's not important after all. With a couple hours later, everyone is now in the cafeteria eating lunch, with Izuku still somewhat surprised that he's class rep, with his servants now eating as well, with Izuku thinking on how was he chosen to be class rep or anything like that. Within each of his servants basically listing down on why not him being class rep after all. And to be honest, he's more qualified, or rather overqualified, to be class rep than anybody. Izuku, hearing this, thinks that all his servants are just saying that just to be nice after all. With then Sigurd saying, "No, we're not. We literally believe that you are the better candidate out of everyone in Class 1A. Within Ida saying, "You should listen to them, Midoriya. I believe it's true. I believe that you are a better candidate of being the leader of Class 1A. After all, you were able to find out about the hero points during the entrance exam out of everyone here." With Izuku saying, "That was just by pure accident. And plus, it's mostly because I have a problem with always trying to save people." Within Sky Hatch saying, "Normally that would be a problem. However, you have a better way of assessing the situation on how to save and protect others. You should be grateful for such a drive, wanting to protect and be there for those who need aid and need protecting." With Izuku soon blushing at the compliment that Sky Hatch is giving her Green Net Master. With then Ida saying, "Even your own quirk believes that you are worthy of being Class 1A's class rep, Midoriya. Since I was one of the people that voted for you after all." With Izuku surprised, with then Sheba soon saying, "Why are you so surprised, Izuku? You had 3 votes. There are only 2 people in your classroom who would have voted for you since you voted for yourself." With then Izuku looking at the Middle Eastern queen with saying, "Caster, you knew? You knew about the people who voted for me?" Within Sheba finishing chewing her food and then saying, "Of course. After all, I can see multiple futures, to be honest. And the most recent one was you basically winning having 3 votes. The rest, there were a few of them having lower votes, some where you didn't, and there are a few where actually multiple people voted for you. Actually, there was one where you get 5 votes, to be honest, where not just Ida and Uraraka and yourself voted for yourself, but also Kirishima and Jiro voted for you as well. But I digress. The futures where you basically gain, well, becoming class rep is more equivalent than you not being class repped, after all." Within Izuku saying, "So it was set in stone." Within Sigurd saying, "Nothing is set in stone, Izuku." With Izuku looking at his saber class servant, with Sigurd soon commenting saying, "You decide your path and you decide your future. Just because you are given certain options or certain actions were made doesn't mean destiny's already fated. We choose on how we live our destiny and how we make our destiny. Remember that, Izuku." After saying this, he soon takes another bite out of his lunch. With then Izuku saying, "You always know what to say, Sigurd. It really helps out a lot." With then Nobunaga saying, hey, damn it, Sigurd, you took what I was about to say and can never get a word in. As Nobu gets really, pouty, has a pouty face, and it's actually kind of cute, with Uraraka also thinking that Nobu's pout face is pretty adorable, with then Izuku saying, whatever you're about to say, Nobu, would have been really grateful as well. I appreciate it even you haven't said it yet. But then Nobunaga saying, well, at least you know, your big sis always has great words of wisdom after all. And she says this with that of a, smirk and that of high mightiness. With then she was saying, aw, looks like the little girl is really proud of herself. With then Nobunaga saying, you want to go, you gold digging fox? As the sparks between the two began to show. With then Izuku saying, enough, you two. Seriously, we don't have time for this. Especially not in front of everybody. With then Ochako actually wanting to ask Izuku about his quirks. With her saying, hey, Deku, I've always wanted to ask this, but your quirks act more like people than they do, sentient quirks, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've barely had my, encounters with people with sentient quirks myself, besides Tokiyami in our class, but yours act more, human, to be honest. With Izuku's eyes began widening, with even Sheba and Nobunaga looking at the brunette, rosy-cheeked girl, with then Sigurd soon saying, well, every sentient quirk is different. Some sentient quirks have a mind of their own, but they still are loyal to their quirk user, to be honest. So are we. We may have minds of our own, and we may argue with one another, or we may act of our own free wills from time to time, but there is one thing that we all follow. With then Nightingale soon commenting, coming out of her spirit form, we all serve the commander, and will do anything to protect him with our lives, if need be. With then hearing this, Izuku couldn't help but feel happy that his servants cared this deeply about him. When then Ida soon saying, even for sentient quirks that have free will of their own, they're still loyal to you, Midoriya. And it's quite impressive. It's truly why you deserve to be Class 1A's class rep. After all, being part of the Ida family agency has taught me that. With then Izuku saying, Ida family agency? So, wait, Ida, your family is full of pro heroes? With then Ida realizing what he said, saying, oops, I guess I let that slip. With soon Sheba saying, Izuku, you haven't noticed? Tenya's last name is Ida after all, and who's the only pro hero with the last name Ida? With then Izuku saying, Ingenium? Wait, Ida, are you related to... With Ida saying, looks like you've already figured it out, Midoriya. Or your quirk already has. With then Sheba saying, I've done my research to keep up with the times. Especially since Lady Inko's company is actually in charge of the support company making the Ingenium family's hero costumes. Such as yourself, Mr. Tenya Ida. When then Izuku saying, wait, seriously? With then Ochako also getting surprised and saying, wait, Ida, your family is rich? When then Ida saying, wait, no, Uraraka, that's what you get out of all this? With then Sheba making a comment, well, money does make the world go round, to be honest. It's soon Nobunaga saying, of course you would say that, you money grubber. With then Ida saying, well, my family's not really that rich, but we're not well off, I will say. But what's really important is that I want to live up to my brother. I want to live up to being the next Ingenium of the Ida family, after all. With hearing this, Izuku couldn't help but be inspired by Ida's words, wanting to live up to somebody's expectations, as he wants to live up to his servants' expectations as well, to what they see potential in him. However, this good moment was soon shattered by a huge alarm sounding off in the cafeteria, with many students now freaking out, wondering on what's going on, especially Ida, who asked that of an upper-class student on what the alarm means, as the frantic student basically tells Ida that the alarm sounds if an intruder is on campus. That means a villain is on campus after all, with soon everybody getting freaked out and kind of scared from what's happening, with then all the students now trying to head out of the cafeteria. However, all there is basically tons of pushing and shoving all over the place, with even some students actually knocking each other over, with some even getting close to being trampled, actually. Seeing all the chaos, Izuku is getting somewhat annoyed at the situation that he and his classmates and all the other students are in. He tells Sky Hatch to head to the entrance of the school and look around and see on what's going on to cause all this chaos and mayhem. With then Sky Hatch hearing her master's words, and soon heads off out of the cafeteria, reverting back into spirit form before reverting back into her human form, running all across the school as she soon heads to the open glass windows of UA. She soon sees that it's actually all of the reporters from before, with then she's saying, "You gotta be kidding me. This is ridiculous." With then Izuku getting in contact with Sky Hatch as he uses his mind telepathy, with Sky Hatch saying, "Izuku, the reporters, they're back." With Izuku saying, "Wait, you're serious? They're back?" With soon Nightingale saying, "You can't be serious. I sent them basically 7 blocks away from UA. It would have taken them at least another 3 hours to get back to the school. How did they get back so quickly?" With then Nobunaga saying, "Never underestimate the power of the goddamn press." As she says this with somewhat of annoyance, actually, but thanks to Izuku telling all of his servants to go into spirit form, they're not getting trampled or pushed, unlike Izuku and everyone else. With then Izuku losing his focus a little bit after getting hit in the face by somebody's elbow, as he's trying to shrug it off, but still getting pushed around. Within Sigurd saying, "Izuku, you have to get everybody's attention somehow." Within Izuku saying, "Like what? What am I supposed to do?" With then Sky Hatch soon saying, "Do not worry, Izuku. I'm already on my way back now." With then Izuku saying, "Wait, on your way back?" With then getting cut off, 3 Gabold spears appear around the cafeteria, as a few students were actually shocked and surprised seeing these spears. With then the Gabold spears begin to illuminate a red light, with then the lights turning into that of ancient Celtic rune symbols. With soon the runes began to turn into that of a red wall barrier. With then one last Gabold spear lands into the center of the cafeteria, with Sky Hatch in her regular combat attire. She shows herself with her, however, she has that of her black mask on, so some people wouldn't be able to notice her completely, even though it's pretty easy to. With soon saying, "Please, everyone, calm yourself. This is a false alarm. What is truly happening is not a villain attack. The people that are on the grounds, the intruders, are actually the reporters from this morning. They have come back so they can get an interview with All Might. If you all are truly students of UA, truly supposed to be the best, then stay calm and truly act rational and leave this place in a calm and orderly fashion. Is that understood? All of you. With then all of the students somewhat getting terrified and afraid, with then a couple students who are actually near the window, such as Ida, began to confirm on what Scott Hatch is saying. Within, everybody began less freaking out. But soon, she raises her right arm up, releasing the barrier around them, and the three Gayborg spears that surrounded the cafeteria now disappear as they rise up into the air right next to her, begin spinning around. Now, head back to your classrooms and be civil about this. Understood? With soon, she's saying, "Is this understood, you all?" With then, all of them scream out, "Yes, ma'am!" With soon, she nods before jumps into the air, turning back into spirit form, bringing her Gayborg spears soon disappear as well. Within a few of the students from other courses and other years began to comment on who was that woman. Was she the true intruder, or was she some kind of new teacher, as she had that kind of a, teacher feel to her after all, more strict than anything, with some even kind of like comparing her to that of Aizawa of all people, but a lot more strict and a lot more scary, actually, with some of them also making comments that there's no way that she's as scary as Nezu, though. With then Izuku saying, "Sky Hatch, was that truly necessary?" With soon she's saying, "What? You need to be stern and forceful, and you also need to have an authoritarian voice to yourself if you wish to get children's attention. It's only natural." With then Nobunaga saying, "Well, that's what I expect from our dearly beloved hero teacher after all. Always the instructor to the very end." With Izuku couldn't help but smirk and somewhat of a small giggle as well. With soon Izuku saying, "Yeah, but that's what we love about her after all, especially me." With then, not aware of this, as Scott Hatch is actually in spirit form, she actually blushes like crazy right now, and internally thinking, saying, "He loves me like this? He loves me like this?" With her continuing saying it over and over again in her head, while blushing profusely. With then Sigurd having enough of, Scott Hatch's, internal panicking, went back into his human form from spirit form, with standing right next to Izuku, saying, "Izuku, why did the reporters head back all the way here? If I recall, isn't there a security system that doesn't allow anyone that isn't a student or a teacher or any other faculty member come through the gates?" Within Izuku saying, "Yeah, I remember that. Why are you bringing it up? Why are you bringing it up, Sigurd?" But then Sigurd, adjusting his glasses, saying, all I'm saying is, it just seemed too ironic that the media was able to get by the gate that's said to be so indestructible that even All Might and Endeavor together would have a hard time busting through with just one solitary punch or one powerful fire blast. So, how is that possible that a bunch of reporters who would be arrested on sight if they used their quirks was able to get through? Hearing his saber-class servant, Izuku began thinking as well, as he began saying, "You don't think that this was planned or attacked, do you?" Within Sigurd saying, "It's only a possibility. And given the glasses of wisdom that I wear, I have to think of every single possibility in every single scenario that could happen in situations such as this. So, it may be possible that somebody may have sent a message to the school by using the reporters in the media, or possibly that UA's security system is not as great as it advertises and is just all, well, make-believe, to be honest. But that's to be said. With then Izuku saying, if you think this, maybe you should go and check up on the gate. With then Sigurd saying, that might be a good idea. It will calm my nerves if I do check it myself. But then as Sigurd reverts back to spirit form, and Izuku, alongside Ochako and Ida, head back to Class 1A. With the faculty of UA, Principal Nezu, Midnight, President Mike, and Aizawa all are at the front entrance. With the police now able to get rid of all of the reporters that were able to get on UA's, premises, Sigurd materializes in human form, but then looking at the situation, but not drawing any attention to himself, as he just only wants to assess the situation, with him internally thinking, now that I think about it, the situation would have been better with Kotaro here. Personally, I think it was a bad idea leaving him with Lady Inko, but he did need to be with somewhat of a mother figure today, to be honest, but still, he would have been so much better for a mission like this. With soon Sigurd now listening to the conversation between the UA staff members, as he now begins hearing that the gate was destroyed, not by a punch or a blast or any other type of destructive quirk, but it looks like it was decayed, or rather completely disintegrated, something like that. With realizing that the quirk that destroyed the gate effortlessly must have been a strong and powerful quirk. Within Izuku, he begins hearing Aizawa mention that, was this some kind of declaration of war by any chance? But then Sigurd, hearing this as well, begins getting freaked out, begin wondering, is this it? Is this why we've been summoned? Somebody must be attacking UA, and that means there must be after somebody, such as All Might, or possibly Izuku. Soon, Aizawa was about to notice Sigurd. However, he disappeared last minute into spirit form, as he begins internally thinking to himself, no, I won't allow this. I made a promise to Lady Inko that I would protect Izuku with my life. Whatever is going to happen, whatever happens, I will keep that promise. I will protect Izuku with my life, not as his servant, but as his family. I swear it. Heading back to Class 1A, and as the day goes by, just as usual, Aizawa soon appears back in the classroom and tells them that they'll be heading to an off-campus facility for their hero training, and they'll be supervised by both, him, All Might, and another teacher as well. So he also tells them that they can wear their hero costumes, but if they're not completely used to them yet, they can wear their gym uniforms instead. But soon, everybody in the classroom getting excited before Aizawa activating his quirk again, basically erasing all their quirks, quieting all of them down. Then he's soon saying, just remember, this is important for your development as heroes, so don't think that this is just playing around. Remember, within everybody in Class 1A nods in agreement. Soon, Izuku noticed that a few of his servants wanted to ask something, with soon Izuku knowing what they want to ask. As then he raises his hand, but then Aizawa is saying, Midoriya, you wish to say something? Yes, actually, sir. I want to know, why is it that we are heading to an off-campus facility right after the reporters came through the gates? Just want to know. With then Aizawa saying, are you worried, Midoriya? But there's no need to worry about something like this. So an accident like that will not happen. It was just a fluke that those stupid reporters were able to get through the gate. Nothing to worry about. With then Kirishima saying, yeah, Midoriya, you don't need to worry about anything like that. It's just stuff like that can happen. With then soon Jiro saying, I think you're freaking out over nothing, to be honest. So a couple reporters got on campus. Big whoop. Nothing major you should worry about. With then Izuku saying, yeah, but Sheba soon makes a comment saying, ignorant children, it's situations like this that can lead to full-on attacks. It's secret attacks like this that leaves people in a false sense of security. Sometimes it's best to be on alert for anything to happen. With then Scott had saying, I agree. Is this seriously on how they're taking their training as heroes seriously? If so, it's ridiculous. They need to be on high alert all the time. With then Nobunaga saying, even I'm kind of sad that these kids are trained to become heroes and yet they have no sense of rationality when it comes to dangers or anything that can be quite unexpected. It's really stupid than anything. But then Izuku saying, okay guys, you can stop with all the insults to my classmates, guys. However, Nightingale is still quite quiet since then. And with Izuku noticing this saying, Nightingale, are you okay? With then she's saying, huh? Oh, yes, Commander, I'm totally fine. Is there anything you want to say? You've been completely quiet all this time. With her saying, no, I am absolutely fine, Commander. You have no need to worry. I promise you. With Izuku kind of skeptic at his berserker class servant. With then saying, if you say so, if you have something you want to voice, just say it. I mean, these guys are really vocal when it comes to their opinions as well. A little bit too vocal, to be honest. With his several female servants actually whispering at that comment, even though they're somewhat annoyed at their master making it. With now it becoming the end of the day, with everybody having their hero costumes on. However, Izuku's the only one in Class 1A who doesn't, as he just has his, gym uniform on with a couple of shin guards and knee guards, and a couple of white combat gloves. Within Ochako, Jiro, and Momo walk up to Izuku, as they all ask the same question on why he's not wearing his hero costume. With Izuku somewhat blushing a little bit with all the attention he's getting, within him basically explaining that he needed to get an upgrade on his hero costume and make a couple of changes about it. With then mentioning that certain someones keep on teasing him about how adorable he looks in it instead. With then many of his servants that are still in spirit form still whistling at the fact that they're the ones who kept on calling him adorable, but then sighs at his servants after all. But then just getting on the bus. However, with then everybody basically talking on the bus and then explaining their quirks a little bit, seeing on how popular they would be, how flashy they would get, and all that. With then Tsuyu actually making the comment that Izuku's quirk has to be one of the most flashiest and most unique ones of all. With then Izuku kind of getting flustered and shy about this. With then Sato making a comment that his quirk is actually quite something else. It's even beyond that of Tokiyami's quirk, Dark Shadow, with even Tokiyami having to agree on that. That not even Dark Shadow is that well complex after all. With then Sigurd saying, "All right, everyone, I understand that you have a lot of questions for Izuku, but if you want the answers, you can ask me." With then Izuku saying, "Sigurd," as Izuku gets flustered at his first servant basically, saving him instead of him actually trying to de-escalate the situation himself. But then Momo actually getting quite curious with her saying, your name is Sigurd, am I right?" That's Midoriya calls you. With Sigurd soon saying, "Yes, my name is Sigurd. What do you have for me, Yaoyorozu?" With her saying, "So, are you, by any chance, Midoriya, did you make a form of the ancient Norse swordsman that's a descendant of Odin and that killed a dragon?" With then Izuku saying, "Well, Sigurd was inspired by that, yeah, by the actual Sigurd himself." But then Tsuyu actually making a comment saying, "I heard a story about a warrior that killed a dragon once. Actually, wasn't his name? I think his name was Siegfried." Hearing that name, both Izuku and Sigurd, the eyes began widening at shock and surprise. With then Momo making a comment saying, "Oh yes, the German prince hero Siegfried. He also killed a dragon by the name of Fenrir, the same as Sigurd. They say that both their legends are so similar that they're basically the same person, but they're different based off their origins and what plays out differently from their self-respected stories. So some people say that they're completely different, though. But I believe that they're basically the same person." With then Sigurd saying, "No, we are not the same. Far from it, more than anything." After hearing this, the aura around the glasses-wearing young man actually began to change, with him saying, "That bastard is no match for somebody like me. Far from it." But then Izuku saying, "Sigurd, calm down." With soon Sigurd hearing his master's voice begins saying, "Oh, my apologies. I do end up losing it when I hear that bastard's name, to be honest." With then he sits right next to Izuku saying, "I wish to apologize for my actions." With then everybody soon after the huge tone shift, everybody was back to normal. However, Aizawa was actually really shocked out of everybody else. With that, he was thinking to himself, "I tried to shut off Midoriya's quirk all the other times I was able to, but not this time. How is that not possible now? Why? Something's up, and I gotta figure it out sooner than later." After hearing this, everybody was somewhat quiet after that little, tirade that Sigurd was on, with them now arriving at the off-campus facility. As they arrive, they soon see that of a figure wearing that of an astronaut attire, as both Izuku and Ochako, as they both notice that it's actually the space hero herself, 13, with Ochako making a comment that 13 is actually her favorite hero out of everyone after all. Then she begins explaining that this place will be focusing on them learning how to properly commit that to rescue training that is known as the Unforeseen Simulation Joint, or the USJ for short. Then everybody in Class 1A, including all of Izuku's servants, began to say That it sounds more close to Universal Studios Japan. With then she began to explain that each of the zones all across the USJ are based off of rescue situations that they may see themselves in any case on what could happen. So they need to learn and prepare for stuff like this to happen. The best way with also with their combat training with All Might, they are aware that they need to have certain limits on their quirks when it comes to fighting, because their quirks, even though how great and powerful they are, can also be used to kill. With hearing this, a few students in Class 1A began to get a little bit worried and scared, to be honest. Within 13 also began explaining that her quirk, Black Hole, may be useful for out of rescue situations. However, it's also be easy to kill people as well with it. And it's that reason why she controls herself by becoming that of a rescue hero instead of a combat hero like that of All Might or Aizawa. Within Izuku began thinking to himself, besides my servants, my magic can be used to kill as well. I mean, I've already gotten the handle of both projection and reinforcement magic. However, my elemental magic is really lacking, to be honest. Which, I don't know, but part of me is actually kind of grateful for that, to be fair. I think it's mostly because I'm afraid on what I could do if I can basically use all forms of elemental magic. So, being able to just manipulate wind and lightning is the closest thing to me being somewhat controllable. With then Sheba saying, "Oh, you got nothing to worry about, Izuku. You are totally fine when it comes to using your magic, and you got full control. Just make sure that you continue training and practicing, and you'll be able to finally become a true Magus." Within, Izuku couldn't help but be glad about the comforting words from his caster class servant. Within him smiling. However, that smile faded when then he felt that of an ominous pressure, as it felt like pure hatred. Within, Izuku heading up closer and closer to the edge of the USJ, as in the center he sees that of a black hole, as one of the figures come out of it, as it being a person wearing hands, one on his face with multiple surrounding his body. Within, multiple other figures began to appear as well, with soon everybody begins getting confused and kind of worried. Within, Kirishima saying, "Oh, cool. It looks like they got fake villains as well for the rescue training." Within, Aizawa saying, "Everybody stand back. Those aren't fake. Those are actual real villains." With soon a few people in Class 1A began getting somewhat worried and actually somewhat scared at the situation that they're in. Within, Izuku saying, "Damn it. Looks like you guys are right. We should have been on more high alert." With then both Nobunaga, Scott Hatch, and Sheba all saying in unison, saying, "We know!" With then Nightingale saying, "This is my fault. I should have said something." With then Izuku thinking to Nightingale saying, "What are you talking about, Nightingale?" With her explaining that she ran into an individual that seemed like pure hatred. His aura was that of darkness itself, as part of her wanted to tell Izuku, but the other part of her didn't think that it mattered. With soon, Izuku saying, "Damn it, you just thought what you thought was right, Nightingale. I can't blame you for that. But still, the situation we're in is not a good one." With soon Nobunaga making a comment saying, "What are you talking about? We could take out all of these guys without even breaking a sweat. It'd be way too easy." With then Sigurd saying, That's not the point. Before when we were fighting, it was more into self-defense. But if we fight now, who knows what could happen. Not only that, Izuku doesn't want us to kill anybody. Remember Nobu? With Bin, the Demon King of the Sixth Heaven, you couldn't help but say, okay, you got me there, Sigurd. So, what's the plan, Izuku? With then Izuku saying, the plan right now, with soon running up to Ida, as Nobunaga soon comes out, as multiple muskets soon appear, as they all circle all around above her, within each musket blasting right through the doors of the USJ, with everybody kind of surprised and shocked. Within Izuku saying, Ida, go! You have to get out of here now! Within Ida saying, what? What are you talking about, Midoriya? It's most likely they've already jammed communications, so nobody in the school knows what's going on right now. You could say it's just a hunch, but Kaminari, try it. Within Kaminari saying, I can't, because I've been trying actually. Saying, see? So go, now. Within Ida saying, I can't, just look, I'm class rep. My job is to make sure that everybody's okay and taken care of. And finding out the best plan to take care of the situation as well. You are literally the fastest person out of everyone here. You need to be the one to take care of it. So go, Tenya Ida. Live up to the name Ingenium. Hearing these words coming from his classmate and friend, within Nobunaga adding on saying, you're fast, kid. You're the only one that can save us in this situation. Go and get the pros and show them what an Ingenium can do. You got it? With Nobunaga soon showing her prize-winning smile to Ida, within Ida feeling somewhat encouraged and more motivated to do so, saying, I will. And Midoriya, in Midoriya's quirk, call me Nobu, saying, Nobu, thank you for your words. With then Ida running as fast as he can out of the exit. However, during this time, it's also when Kurogiri soon appeared, saying, it seems like one of you was already preparing for the situation to go south. No matter, even if we do lose more time, we still have a chance to kill all of you, to bring All Might here. But then Izuku saying, all we need to do is survive. Survive until the pros show up. That's all we need to do. With Izuku saying this with that of determination in his eyes. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Also, please like and subscribe, which really helps out the channel a lot. I would really appreciate that. And hit that bell notification too to keep up to date when I upload. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, and my third channel, where I do fanfics to improve on my writing style, and also one-shots from what ifs that my Discord actually suggested me. So yeah, if it's an interesting Discord, I'll probably do it in one-shot on that channel. So with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys. Shiro Kitsune, finish it off, girl.
Hi everyone, this is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!